your netting in there and put the panel back on and bring the netting down and hook it, I believe, up in here. There's another spot here you'll see.
Okay.
And then that way, it has netting and it comes back up like this with a stretch bungee cord. And then you can just stuff it full of clothes.
How do you take that panel? Just unscrew it?
Yeah, it just unscrews.
And there's hooks in there, or it's a place to hook it to inside.
Yeah, I made some place to hook it. It also gives you access to the wires.
Okay.
Once a year, seasonally, take all of these wire trace panels off and spray concrobium up there, because it will grow mildew no matter what you do, but at least you can keep it.
Concrobial? That's
concrobium.
Like concrobium, and that fights mildew?
Yeah, that fights mildew.
Okay.
We also wipe down all surfaces at the end of the season with concrobium before we put the boat to bed.
Okay.
And this is the Evile one, and you're right, it's a square drive. I don't know how I got that in. But we'll throw this away and get another one. Make sure that all fasteners are always stainless steel. Never let any, I mean, unless it's absolutely necessary, don't let any iron, steel on board. I put this here. Okay, so this is the access to the windlass, and to the forward 110 coming in. This windlass and gear housing and motor, the whole thing was replaced in 2023 in July. I have an extra perfectly good replacement motor in case this motor would ever go bad. Here is one of the recommended changes. When the guys replaced this, for whatever reason, this was mounted, I think, in the back there, and now it's loose. So we've got to figure out how to mount this so that it's not loose. We don't want it to be loose.
Where was it mounted previously?
I think it was mounted, looks like, because they found a piece of broken plastic. It was mounted here, it looks like to me. I don't know.
And it shouldn't be loose, like, so it doesn't bounce around?
Right.
Well,
it looks to me like they had to break that in order to install this, and then they forgot to put this back on. So, looking at how that's mounted, we'll see. You'll have to come up, or maybe we can come up with a clever method of mounting. I'm thinking some 5200 and
epoxy to
hold
it down.
Yeah, epoxy, or something down here. Perhaps make two parallel pieces of essentially L bracket like this.
Yeah,
and this can just slide right down in. You still have access to it. On, off,
but it won't move then.
I have turned the 110 forward off, but I can turn them both back on. Now, there's no power going into this, but should you tie up against there and kick the circuit breaker, this is where the circuit breaker is located. Let's leave this open, so if we have time, we may be able to go ahead and do that repair.
But normally you could just plug in the back, right? Store power, and then you wouldn't need this,
right?
Unless you're at a dock where it's convenient.
When you're in a dock, that's where you're going to get your power. I usually go bow in because most of those docks are pretty tight, and it's easier to go in and back out. Yeah. And that's how I did it.
Okay.
I put this is just just in case, you get a little salt water comes in. Yeah. Somehow, we don't want this. So it's no big deal, but I'm paranoid, so I put it up there. Okay. It says anchor locker through hull below. Okay. It may not technically be a through hull. This is an access panel that I installed because I had to replace this hose here. It had a crack in it. This hose drains the anchor locker, and then I'll show you where it goes through the hull over here. Okay. So those are the lines that go to the vent line and a line to the water tank that's up forward on the other side here.
There's a water tank forward?
I'm sorry, no, there's a water tank here. This is the fill hose, hose.
Oh, the fill hose for those.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is spare cable. I replaced it.
Does it come to right here?
No.
There's a line coming in from the outside there.
The fill hill, yeah, the fill's there.
That's the fill for the water?
That's the fill.
Okay.
And the vent, you can't really access from here.
Yeah.
And you can't access from the outside, so I relocated it so you can access it from the anchor locker.
Okay, so that other hose is a vent for the anchor locker.
And it comes out at the anchor locker.
Why does the anchor locker need a vent?
Well, it doesn't, but the vent for the tank.
Oh,
you have
for
to
the
vent
tank,
someplace.
yeah.
It goes in an anchor locker, a little water squirts out, it doesn't
Okay.
matter. It's just, you know.
Got it.
So anyway, what you have here is a little plastic box. You got some pieces of PVC.
Yeah.
For instance, we may end up using a piece like this. We can heat it up and bend it, shape it to an L bracket, fit it in here.
Okay.
I keep spare pieces of plastic here and there for that very reason. They're great stock to make use of.
Yeah.
This just keeps things dry if you want to store stuff in there.
Okay.
I forget what we had stored in here. Sometimes we had food stored in there. Sometimes we just had odds and ends of equipment. This is spare cable for the throttle and the clutch. I replaced them because they looked to me that they were getting worn. And so we got about 3-4 years ago I replaced them. But should one of them break or something, you still got that.
And that's the old one we could use for
That's the
backup.
old one, right.
Got it.
These are, in an emergency, these are V-belts for the alternator, but I've changed the pulley system on that to a flat belt, serpentine belt.
Right, so those wouldn't work now.
Those would not work now unless the backup alternator still has the old-fashioned V-belts. So if you did that, you could switch over. It's complicated, but I left them just in case. And it's in a space that you don't use.
324.
That tells me when this pipe was replaced.
What is that pipe?
I'm sorry. This is the drain. This is the fill pipe.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the drain.
That's the drain for the cockpit locker right there. The 324.
Yeah, that's the one for the locker. And if you shine right there, that's where it goes out.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't have a valve because it's above the water line.
Okay.
That being said, I went ahead and got extra heavy duty stuff because before it was this thing here, and somebody apparently sprayed it with, I'm guessing, with chlorine-based cleaner of some sort, and polyvinyl chloride and chlorine combination acts as a solvent and makes it brittle. So anyway, I always try to label things if I replace them, so I've got a history and a note. So 324, that was replaced.
What's in that behind that little hatch there?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
That is the access to the drain, the fitting on the drain. There was no way to replace this without cutting that hole in, so I could get my hand up in there.
Okay. You had
And
to cut that. Okay.
you will be a contortionist, or Amanda will be, depending on who you send in there to get that. It took me probably 4 hours of manipulation, not to cut the hole, just to get the thing on and tightened down.
Okay, wow.
Oh, oops. This is just crap. Put it up. Put it right here. So that's that.